Thank you for joining local music somewhere. Hashtag Charlotte. Welcome to this week's show.
Welcome back to rBeatz.com, and you're here on Local Music Somewhere, which is our flagship program promoting independent artists and also industry people that have knowledge to inspire the independent artist. I'm Terry Hudson, your host. I'm an author, speaker, and music industry coach. And my guest today in the studio, this is going to be fun again. My guest today is Trey Calloway, who is a country music artist. He's a singer. He's a songwriter. He's a multiple award winner, including the Josie Award, which is known with the independent circles, and also the Texas Music Association Award as well. I think it even has one more letter in that I'm missing. But he also is just a great guy that I've known since he was a teenager, and he is the epitome and the picture of perseverance in the music industry when you have to forge ahead no matter the things that are thrown at you. And that's going to be a great lesson today, because so many people give up on their dreams, especially in the music industry, especially in the arts. And when it comes to music, they just quit too soon. And this is that guy that they can hit with 12 sledgehammers and he's still going to walk ahead. And he didn't get like that at first. Things kind of made him that way. So we'll talk about that. But welcome, Trey.
Hello, Terry. How are you today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to be here, buddy.
Dude, and
I'm excited about this.
I have wanted to interview you, but with you, because I've known you so long, we could have done this interview, remotely with you in Nashville and me here in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is our home base. But I've known you since you were 13 years old or something like that, and I've watched the growth and everything that you're doing, and I really wanted to make it happen when you're in the studio. So, as you know, you and I have been jumping through hoops to try to make this happen. So it's really cool to have you.
Well, I appreciate you having me, man. So, it's better in person. It's better to be face to face with you.
Well, especially when you know the person, and with a show that deals with independent artists, and they have to know that everything starts somewhere, and they just have to get started. That's the biggest deal. It doesn't matter if they're 12 or 13 or 35. Sometimes just making it happen. I have the saying that I always tell people, and I've said it on here before: your first thing will not be a masterpiece, but without your first thing, you're never going to have a masterpiece.
Amen.
So just do and grow, through doing, and you've done that. So let's start. I mean, you've been doing this so long, but as far as like trying to learn music and becoming involved in music and guitar and everything there, what is your origin? How did you begin with this?
So, you and I both have our roots in Pentecostal church.
Yes,
so
we do.
My dad was a Pentecostal evangelist when I was growing up.
A great one.
So, and a darn good one. Yes, sir.
He
Thank
was.
you for saying that. I'm sure he'll be. I'm going to tell him you said that. And so I got my start in the music thing with going to his different churches he would preach in and singing before he would preach a sermon. So that got me the music book. I was probably about the age of 6 or 7 when I started doing that, and really caught the music bug early on. So I sang gospel music up until the time I was about 13, and then, man, I heard my mom and dad bought me a country music greatest hits, kind of like a country gold album.
Compilation.
And it had, Loretta Lynn and George Jones and Patsy Cline and Waylon Jennings on there. And so I fell in love with old classic country music first, I would say. And then it was everything from George Strait, Garth Brooks, and Alan Jackson up until Jason Aldean and Chris Young. Yeah. And so country music, once it got a hold of me, man, it had a hold of me for sure.
Well, such a
yes, sir.
It has a reminiscent feel, and it takes you to almost whatever place they're singing about.
Yes, sir.
And out of all the genres I worked in, I found that one to be like a big family.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in Nashville, it's it's a music capital like the others, but it has more of a small town feel.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that, I got to say, with Nashville is disappearing. Some of it's still there. A lot of the landmarks are gone.
The industry still got that small town. Everybody's your buddy and stuff.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you can get to the place, because there's a lot of traffic going on there.
So I'm kidding, brother. It's crazy, man.
So I'm sure that was different for you. But so that was your start as far as hearing those kind of voices that you liked. Who were your biggest influences?
So from like a classic country standpoint, it would be George Jones.
Oh yeah.
So in my household, in the Callaway house, George Jones is the GOAT. You know, my dad says jokingly that I'm his second favorite country singer. So, but then for me, I would say that the singer that made me want to be a country artist would be Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah,
for me, Garth was
that's why you like
catalyst.
the live thing so much.
Absolutely. That's a big part of why I love to play live so much. And Garth was also a great writer. But great entertainer, great singer. So, and then, man, I have to put George Strait in there as well. I'd say those two guys. And, when I started trying to make a living at it, thinking about playing in clubs and stuff, it was Jason Aldean. He was kind of the top dog. So I was a little bit of a Jason Aldean wannabe there for a little bit, but all of us were. We all were,
You're always looking at some influence.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's two or three, sometimes it's just one, and you're looking at that when you're first getting in.
Yes, sir.
And after a while, you find your way.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's good to look at somebody that's doing it and at least see a framework of what's happening. It helps you ease into to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And with guitar, how long have you been playing that?
So I started playing the guitar around the time I started writing songs, which was around the age of 13.
Okay.
So I had a song that I had written that was kind of more or less like a poem. I didn't know how to play guitar. I had a melody in my head, but I didn't know how to play the guitar at the time. So I learned how to play guitar in order to write music. I mean, it was always singer first, and then guitar came second for me. And I play guitar all the time now. I mean, for me, it's second nature.
Yeah, and you're on the road quite a bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Guitar.
Yes, sir.
And you were talking about Garth, where I saw that he changed everything. And I'm sure there were, in country music, there were other pioneers of the live show, but he got it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things that I do is help people in, their live performance training.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends like Tom, that Tom Jackson, who I hope to have on the show soon, who is a just one of the best coaches ever, when it comes to live. And we'll talk about these things a lot. And the thing that I see with Garth is, and I saw this in an interview, is he will stand on the stage and he'll look at the furthest point in the Coliseum and zoning your audience to see how can I make that guy feel welcome.
Yep.
He paid a ticket. And he does it. And he has a way of pulling us in. The other thing is, and this is something Tom had taught me, which is all of your songs don't sound the same, so why do they look the same?
Yeah.
And you would go to a lot of the country shows, and it was just the same thing with the guitar all the way through. Tom's one difference, though, he said the one exception that is George Strait. He could stand up there.
He gets away with it with that voice,
yeah, but he's
man.
incredible. And
yes, sir.
Tom loved his concert. He was blown away by George Strait, and obviously many people are. The guy's playing stadiums.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Had the biggest selling stadium concert in American history or something like that.
Yeah, no, he's an incredible guy. So you have all these incredible story songs with country music, and they should all look different on stage, and you should be reaching that audience, and that's something you've latched on to pretty well.
Thank you, sir.
And what is your favorite part of your show that you're doing now?
Well, I mean, I hate set lists. I hate, this is the thing, but I realize that the more kind of into hard ticket events and stuff you get, and you need to have a show that's rehearsed. I have a habit of going to a place and, doing my songs and then going, hey, what do you want to hear? Because I think I'm so inspired by those artists who connect so well with their audience that, I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole reason we're here, is to make these people walk away going, hey, that changed my life. That moment I was going through a breakup, or I was thinking about getting married, or, whatever. I just lost my mom, or, something like that. And that emotion that you help that person in the audience feel that's the reason I do it.
Yeah.
That's the reason I do it.
I feel like coming from church and Christian artists, that was that way a lot. But even in the comedy world, even though the crowd work can be funny and sometimes negative, that's the crowd's favorite part of it, because they get to interact, with the artists on stage. It's what make Matt Rife, as huge as he is known for his crowd work.
Oh yeah.
So absolutely. That it is one of the biggest parts of the program, whether you have a set list or not. You got to have that moment in the show.
And we do have a set list now. I mean, I have to stick to the script, or else my manager will be on stage going, giving me the evil eye. But I'd say my favorite part of the show has got to be Horses in Heaven. I mean, that song, anytime that I'm playing a show now, that's the number one song that gets requested. That one and Worth a Shot, I would say, are the two. But Horses in Heaven for me has such a deep meaning to me. That would probably be my favorite part of the show. And that's kind of in the middle, you know, when you've got them warmed up with some barn burners, and you're hitting them with something real, you know, that's probably my favorite part.
And let's talk a little bit about what fuels your live performance. Because people, I mean, when you're playing clubs and you're playing festivals, there are people that show up. But to get them to show up for you, there's so many things that have to happen. And this is a real important part when it comes to the perseverance of the music industry. Is with Spotify and all these other platforms, they're about the platform. They're not about the artist. Not anything negative to them, but their job is to be about the platform. You know,
absolutely.
They have Spotify on everybody's phone and Apple on everybody's phone that they can have it on, or whatever it is, Amazon. So the artist, a lot of times people hear the songs. They don't know who's singing them. They love the song, but the artist hasn't properly branded himself. Even if it's a major artist, there's not been enough with that. And there are things that you have to do to make sure people know, hey, that's Trey Calloway.
Yeah.
And I'm part of his tribe, and I'm showing up for him, and I'm going to be the long-term fan. There used to be artists that were great at this even before all of this changed, like Grateful Dead and Buffett with the parrot heads. And, of course, Garth was major at that too. They understood the value of tribe. These are people we want with us, so we have more than the 5-year shelf life. So there's a lot of stuff involved there. Before we roll into that, let me ask you with Nashville, because they want you having all this stuff, but when you moved there, how many times do you think you heard no?
Well, that's a great question, Terry, I'm excited to answer this. So for me, it was a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot, but it's the thing about it is if you're determined that nothing's going to stop you, it doesn't bother you. It's just like, okay, this person isn't going to be a part of what we got going on. And the thing about it is, I'd like to go a little bit further back. So when I was playing in Myrtle Beach before I moved to Nashville, which was, I had gone from Charlotte to Myrtle Beach to play, and there was a really good, lively music scene in that area too, and a great way to make a living as a musician. And I had become a rather big artist in that tiny pond. It's like being a big fish in a little pond. I had become that to a degree, and I couldn't go to a restaurant in Myrtle Beach without getting recognized, and it was great, and I loved it, and I love all my friends that still live there, and every time I go back, I get to see them, and I hug their necks, and that part of my career is an integral part of making me who I was as an artist. But then when I moved to Nashville, if you have any kind of inclination that you're going to go to Nashville and immediately have that kind of thing, which I think a lot of artists do, it might be a contributing factor to why they maybe quit. Why they give up, because they say, well, man, I can't start over. But in a way, when you move to Nashville, you start over.
It's a music capital.
You start over,
and
basically.
One that's been there a long time.
And the town was there before you got there, and they'll be there after you leave. So that
even the legends have come and gone.
Exactly, and it's humbling. And so, for me, it was just I was going to knock on every door, and a contributing factor to me getting a little bit of momentum, I have to give credit to Jeff Reed. And there's a club called the local Nashville, and I play there every Friday night with
People
the band.
Talked about
you got to come
here before.
Next time you're in Nashville, man, come stop by. We'd love to have you. We'll get you on stage even if you want to. But I play there every Friday night, and Jeff was really the first person I could put my finger on in Nashville that wasn't part of my immediate team. He was like, man, I believe in this kid. I think he's good. And that's been invaluable to me. I mean, playing that show every Friday night has been a big part in me getting a little bit of a name there. And I'm getting ready to do my first artist showcase on September 25th at the local, because I can't think of a better way to repay him than, packing that place out for him. That would be, but that is really the thing. If you're expecting to go there and not hear no, be prepared.
And no is just an answer.
Yeah.
It's a rejection.
Yeah.
And rejection hurts.
It fires me up though.
Yeah. But it's hard for people to get through rejection. Rejection is part of it. There are things, there are times I went to see a movie called Cabrini and watched all that stuff she went through to make happen what she made happen. I thought, man, I'm not doing enough because I'm not hearing no enough these days.
Amen.
And you can't grow to that next level unless you're able to get through those no's, or unless you're able to navigate the people that tell you no to find the right people that'll tell you yes.
That'll tell you yes.
And listening to the no's, it's like, why did they say it? Is it something I need to change, or is it just an opinion?
Yeah.
And, with that, it is a rejection, but it's the only thing that gets you to where you're going now. Even in relationships, you got rejected by one person that led you to the right person.
Amen.
If you had taken this person, you'd taken a whole, different path, and it wouldn't make you as happy as you are now. I've experienced that in my own life. And of course, I have this great marriage now that, pretty much everybody knows about.
I can't wait to meet her.
I know about this great relationship that you have as well. And, I've watched that. I stalk you as much on social media, I guess, as you stalk me.
Well, you can't wait to meet each other's ladies. We did good, buddy.
Yeah. So that is part of it. But in that, after you're told no, just understanding it's just about doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And as a guest said on here one time, moments create momentum.
Yep.
And so your moments come from things like social media and social proof and documenting the things that you're doing, which you've done really well.
Yep.
I mean, when you're at these places, you're making it interesting. You're not just showing a video or a picture of you at this particular club. There's a reason that you're at the club, or there's an audience member focus. The other things that I've noticed with you, I tell people this all the time. When you have a website and you're an artist, you have to have recommendations for people, whether they're industry people, whether they're promoters, and you have to have an EPK.
Yep.
You don't even send out your EPK or one sheet anymore. You make it part of your site.
Yep.
I think yours is even password driven, that promoters are coming in there, and you're talking to them directly, giving them that password so that they have to have that to come in. So you have that connection at first. The other thing was your gallery is really good. So what thought process went into that?
Well, we try to do so. The way we kind of got a system. When I go in and I cut songs, and every song, I'm blessed to say every song that I've recorded so far has been either written by me or co-written by me. So I'm proud of that fact. I being a songwriter is like pulling teeth for me. If I'm being honest with you, it's a therapy. Sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world to do for me. I definitely love the live part better, but songwriting can be this thing that I'm getting off track. Let me get on track. You asked me about the photos. So when we cut a song, we do a photo shoot to do per song. And we've been lucky enough to meet some great photographers out there, videographers out there, and they really listen to me because I tend to have a vision, a way I want it to look, and they turn out good. I mean, honestly, I'm not much to look at, but the photographer does good at making me look all right. So I appreciate you noticing.
You do have great photos.
His name's Elliot. Elliot's the guy that does most of my photography. He's great, man.
Well,
he's a family man.
You were touching on that songwriting thing. I don't think that's off topic, because what you do, and it really works in country music. It seems to work in R&B. There'll be like 20 names on a song.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
But if writing is not your strength, find the people that it's their strength too. Coordinate with them on the ideas, because it grows you as a writer as well, because you're around people that are already doing it, and they're doing it well. They've already had hits. And that whole thing about if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Your continued growth is by not being intimidated and just being a part of that. Yep. And dude, you found some great songwriters, because I mean we can talk about that, even roll into the next segment that we're going to do. But with like Forgotten Man, which is you told me, I think that's your
that's the
biggest
stream song. Yes, sir.
And then of course, us coming from the background that we come from, your latest song,
Backward Believer.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, I think, when we talk about your album. I'm going to take a break here in a minute, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about streaming.
Cool.
We're going to talk about that album, and I have another thing that we'll talk about during that time. So we'll be right back with a word from our friends and sponsors, and we'll go into Trey's new album. So we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Hey there, I'm Annalise, host of What's Trending Now on rBeatz.com, bringing you this week's DJ World Beats hottest trending bangers on rBeatz Radio and Media Streaming Network. Let's get right into it. Avril Lavigne is heading on her greatest hits tour and rocking out at the PNC Music Pavilion on Sunday, September 1st at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at livenation.com. Black Box Theater presents Techno Vibrations featuring artists Umek and Sam Wolf on Saturday, September 21st. Doors open at 10 p.m. and you can get your tickets at blackboxcharlotte.com. Starlight on 22nd Street presents Soul Sundays with live R&B classics such as Guy Now Child, J3, and Vincent Tyson performing September 1st from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for $5 and you can get them at starlightonsecond.com. Trending now on rBeatz Radio, our house and EDM stream, DJ World Beats brings you Swedish House Mafia, Nikki and the Dove with their song Lioness, My and Hua Kim Tuno with their single Love Hunter. Hitting hot on our classic rock and country station USA Heroes, we have Jesse Murph and Teddy Swims, Dirty, Honey Trap with their single Outlaws, and closing on 25-8-366, our global pop stream, we have Jamie XX, Treat Each Other Right. And don't forget to check out our Spotify, rBeatz Radio, Only Bangers, Hits Different. We have Diamond Platinum, Jason Derulo featuring Khalil Harrison and Shelly with Kumbasavia Remix, Kira with Sour, Jamie XX, All the Children featuring The Avalanches, Jimmy Sachs with Una Mattia, and Greg Corey with Burn For You. And that includes this week's countdown. Be sure to check back for what's trending on the local, national, and international music scene on rbeatz.com.
Home. It's hard to put into words what home means. Here in Charlotte, home is passion. It's grit and resilience. It's what defines us, and it's who we are. Representing something way bigger than ourselves. We find home in a game. A game from the North and adopted by the South. And for the last 70 years, we've found home in this Coliseum.
Time in franchise history, the Charlotte Checkers are Calder Cup champions!
No matter the moment, no matter the price, the time is now to take care of home.
We're back. Welcome back to Local Music Somewhere. I'm here in the studio with Trey Calloway, who's this amazing new country artist. I say new. He's been doing it since he was 13. He's still really young, but he's by far not new. He's been on the road a while. And so when I first started following you and I found out you were trying to do the country thing, I saw the struggles at first. Mm-hmm. And then there just came this point. It seemed like it was, I don't know, maybe pandemic time or something, or right after that. Yep. There just was like this shift. There was a shift in your numbers. There was a shift in your dates. There was a shift in your videos. There was a shift in your music, that you were releasing. And some great material has come out since then.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, I talked earlier about Forgotten Man, which has it's like a 2-verse take on the real unsung heroes. One is about the farmer, the other is about the soldier. It ties in really well. And you were telling us that got attention. And, we were talking about even streaming with that. I went through some research when I was just looking up your numbers, and I don't know the exact numbers, but it says now you're over 1 million streams on Spotify, which is pretty incredible, dude.
Well, probably closing in on 2, maybe.
Wow.
So it's crazy, man. I can tell you about what changed. I can tell you exactly what changed.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because I'm sure people want to hear that.
So I had, and my dad always laughs when I tell this story, but so during the pandemic, I had gone back home, you know, because everything shut down.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time making a living playing music.
It's like you finally get to this place, and then, hey, we don't have music live anymore, so
man, I was
you lose.
I felt so defeated.
Yeah.
Like, I really
it was
did.
a hard time.
And you know, so I went to work with my dad, and my dad was building commercial. My dad builds commercial playgrounds, so everybody thinks, oh, playgrounds, kids, that's awesome. No, it's backbreaking work.
Yeah.
It's backbreaking labor. My dad is one of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life. And I was sitting out. It was me and my cousin. My cousin used to work on my dad's crew, and my dad. And we're sitting out there in a blistering sun, you know, doing something with a pitchfork. We were moving something from one place to another, and the sun's beating down on me. I feel like I'm going to die. I'm already fair-skinned, you know. I mean, I love being out in the sun, but I can't be out in the sun too long without getting blistered. And I'm just sitting there miserable. And I think it was the Lord speaking to me. And he's like, you know, this ain't what you're supposed to be doing. You know, don't let anything in the world stop you from doing what I put you on this earth to do, which was make music. And what's the point of writing all those songs you write if you're not going to share them with the world? And I had this like kind of moment, like, you know, Dad, I'm not going to quit on you today, but you know, I'm going to go back to Nashville. I'm going to try to keep going. And I did. And that was really the moment where I was like, what's the point of writing all these songs, books full, if you're not going to do anything with them, if they're just going to sit in a desk and collect dust for the rest of your life? And so that was really the moment where and it was a spiritual moment. I don't know if it was
because
heat
it's about the
exhaustion
people.
or what, but
I'm blatantly a Christian, which everybody knows that knows me.
It was a spiritual moment in my life.
But there are, no matter what art you're doing, you know, my wife's a dancer and poet, and of course I have visual artists that are friends, and the music industry is where I'm from. And so each one of these people, one of the things that helps their nerves when they go out is when they understand it's not all about me. Yeah. That I was given this because there are people in this audience that are going through depression, or they're going through a breakup of their marriage, or they want to celebrate something. They have a happy time. They're proposing, or whatever it is, got a great new job. And you're given songs to give these people. And why would you ever take that to the grave? You know, why would you just let it be silent when these people need you?
Amen, brother.
When you're walking out knowing that those people sitting in the audience, you know, this is what they came for, just a relief or a celebration or something, then and you're right there and you're focused on stage. So you have to have the toughness to go through the things that got you there. Now, I just talked to this female minister, as a matter of fact. She's in front of all these women. She encourages them. She has crazy shares on her memes. Like one meme was shared, I think, 54,000 times. And she tells these women what she went through to get to them. Her husband at the time actually pulled a weapon on her.
Oh, wow.
And she thought that was the end.
Yeah.
And she was like, I guess that's the way it goes, but I thought I was put on this earth to do something. She got through that experience, and, you know, he ended up passing away, sadly. But now she's in front of all these women, but she walked this road to get to them.
Amen.
All the stuff that you did, dealing with, you know, whether it was record companies or managers or booking agents, or what they would say, no, you're not ready for this, or no, you're not the type of artist we're looking for, or no, you're wearing too big or too small of a hat, or, you know,
or a cowboy hat in general.
Yeah, just whatever, you know, things are telling you. You're walking that road just so you can get to those people that need to hear those songs that were in you. And, you know, that's just that perseverance alone. You should be persistent, and you should be consistent, and you should, you know, fight whatever elements around you just to get to the point of giving your gift to those people.
Amen,
I'm a huge believer in that. And you have songs that reflect that, obviously. You're, of course, Forgotten Man. You drew attention. A lot of people have done songs about soldiers. A lot of people have done songs about farmers. This was a different take, and it was really inspiring. But let's talk about your latest single first. We'll go into that, and then we'll cut back to another.
Absolutely. Backroad Believer.
Backroad Believer.
So Backroad Believer, I wrote with Andy Renfrey and Stephen Cade, and two great friends of mine. And Stephen is very religious as well, very devout Christian. And we wrote a song. I can't remember exactly whose idea the song was now. It's been a while since we wrote it, but one of us kind of was like, you know, sometimes I don't necessarily always feel like being in church on Sunday morning and, you know, sitting through the service and this, you know, sometimes I find God out in nature, out on a back road. We were like, well, Back Road Believer is kind of cool title. So we wrote Back Road Believer, and it's a little bit semi-biographical because I was a little bit, when my dad was preaching, I was a little bit younger than the character of the song. The character of the song is more of a teenager, you know, with a driver's license, you know, wanting that freedom of the open road, but still understands that, you know, there's truth in the words of the preacher, but I find God on the back road because I'm a back road believer. So, but the song definitely had a lot of me in it, you know, a lot of that angst in it. So without being sacrilegious, with, you know, by going and saying, hey, this is a song that said this guy, you know, he loves the Lord and he finds him in a different place. Kind of like, you ever heard that Trey Calloway song, I'd rather be on a lake with my mind on God than in church with my mind on fishing. It's a great hook. It's a great hook. It's one of the best hooks I've ever heard. But it's kind of like that, you know. I mean, it's like the whole point is to connect with the Lord, right? You know, so it's
and your relationship is your relationship. Now, obviously, we're supposed to, you know, you hear all the scriptures growing up, and you hear that you don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. There's strength in that, but sometimes. And I grew up a pastor's son. Absolutely. You grew up an evangelist's son. And we know, and might be controversial to some people out there, but we know that so much tradition and so much structure is put on it.
It can choke
that the point is missed. The point is missed. And they let so many people come in and out that they could have reached. And I've known people's husbands, church members, that were exactly the person. Yep. In that song. So when I heard that, it just brought back memories from 20 years or 30 years or so. And you talked about the one, Horses in Heaven.
Yes, sir.
That was a big crowd pleaser and a popular song in your concerts. What makes it that way?
So Horses in Heaven, if I can get real with you.
Can.
So Horses in Heaven was not originally written to be about this, but the more I played it, and this one was written by J.P. Williams, Doc Lewis, and Cody Kelly, and myself. And but Doc will get mad at me if I don't say it was Doc's hook idea. He had the hook idea, Horses in Heaven. He always takes every chance to remind me that it was his hook idea. But so we wrote the song, and we knew we immediately had a good one. And I was like, you know, guys, I'd really like to cut this one, if that's all right. They all agreed, and so I recorded it. And the song is about losing a best friend. You know, more of a general idea about, you know, the guy's never named, you know, the person's never named, you know, because you want the listener to put themselves in the shoes of the person in the song. But the more I sang it out live, the more it reminded me of my friend Andrew, who passed away last year from a drug overdose. And every time I would sing it live, I would see his face because he was my best friend. And we'd lose contact, and then we'd reconnect, and we'd be, you know, thick as thieves again. And then we'd lose contact again. And so, you know, for years, I tried to be the strong person in his life for him. And, you know, he ultimately succumbed to the addiction. And I miss him every day. But the song took on that meaning of being a way to remember him by. And for me,
and everybody knows somebody like that.
Absolutely.
In their lives.
There's not a person in this country who's not been affected by somebody, a loved one or a friend with drug epidemic, you know. So one particular moment comes in my head, and I don't think I'll ever forget this moment, but we were opening up for McBride and the Ride, and I played Horses in Heaven at the set. It was just me and John, my piano player, and we did it kind of like acoustical style, and we've worked up this thing that we'll put Amazing Grace on the end of it. It's really beautiful, and,
that's cool.
And everybody really likes our arrangement of it. And this big, huge, burly biker man comes up to me at the end of the show, and he's crying. He's bawling. And, you know, I was like, oh, man, I didn't sound that bad, did I? You know, I always try to make everybody, you know, cheer up, you know. But he was like, no, man, it's the opposite. You know, you made me think of my dad. And I was like, wow. I mean, that's why you do, especially country music. And I don't want to just say country music is the only emotional kind of music there is, because, you know, all of it's emotional. But country music, for me, has always been that genre that just can sing a song with an idea that's as, you know, serious as that and really deliver it in a good way. And he said, man, I can't wait to, you know, I'm followed you already. I'm going to start coming to see shows. And it just, those kind of moments are why I play music.
Right.
I mean, those are the moments.
That's
I'll
why
do
you
it,
walk
know?
through those things that we just
Amen.
talked about just to get to
Amen.
that guy.
You know, that whole thing, that whole moment made all of the stuff that I've dealt with worth it, you know,
Yeah.
and we'll continue to deal with it.
Yeah, because your songs are somebody's funeral or somebody's wedding or somebody's proposal or, you know, I even had jobs where the only way to get through that day was some motivational song that I heard. It would range from Christian music to country to hip hop.
Yes, sir.
It would be the craziest
Yes, sir.
things that you would have in your brain, but there would be some lyric in there that gets you through and helps you deal with that boss or helps you deal with the challenges of that job or whatever you're facing. But it's also, I mean, those are the things that like the celebratory things that when you go see a movie
Amen.
and it has that big ending scene and it has that song in it, it's touched somebody's lives and they become a fan for a long, long time. So your new album, it is about to drop here
Yes, sir.
this September, right?
September 27th.
So
Yes, sir.
where will they be able to find that?
Everywhere, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anywhere you stream music. And it's Trey Calloway music is I guess what you would search, you know. But
And you'll have a page on rBeatz.com too.
Cool.
Where people will be able to find all that
Very
as
cool.
well. So
very cool. And so this album, we've got one more single. So Backroad Believer came out. We've got one more single that nobody's heard yet. And then we're going to put, basically what we did was all the singles we've dropped this past year are going to finally be in a place where you can find them all at one place.
Yeah.
So
And
Miss
that's-
Gone by Morning. Yeah, Miss Gone by Morning, Neon Lies. Which has become another favorite of a lot of people. Everybody, you know, I thought Neon Lies might not be the one that everybody would love, but you know, Neon Lies is one of everybody's favorites. A lady named Wanda Vick played fiddle on that.
I know Wanda.
Wanda,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
we started with the Gaither thing, remember? And
Wanda is insanely
yeah,
talented. She's played on a bunch of my sessions now, and she's actually started to recognize me, which is kind of a little career, you know, checklist thing. For when the session guys start to recognize you, you're like, okay, maybe I'm starting to do something good. So Wanda's great. She's played on a bunch. She played on Drip. She played on Neon Lies. She's played on the whole session, Worth a Shot. She did on all that stuff, and she's fantastic. But you know, all of the singles we've been releasing over this year are going to be on the One Man album. So I'm really stoked. And then I'm also starting to work on another album now. I mean, I'm jumping right back into doing another one. I think we're going to start cutting that about the end of September.
Wow.
So as soon as One Man comes out, we're back to work.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I've been writing a lot of songs and meeting a lot of people and just trying to do the thing, Terry. You know how it goes, man.
Yeah.
I don't sleep much these days.
Well, you're on the road, you know, quite a bit too that I'm seeing. And what's coming up for you next? What's special in your life?
I would say, I know what I'm supposed to talk about here.
Well, you can.
I was supposed to talk about getting married on October 12th. I'm marrying the love of my life on October 12th.
Yeah.
Her name's Raina. She's amazing.
Beautiful.
And beautiful. And she'll be glad to hear you say that. But she's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. I'm saying my son being born and meeting her, probably the two best. I'm saving the third one for Grand Ole Opry debut. Those would be the three best moments.
Absolutely
So,
believe that you'll get there.
I hope so.
Well, your lyrics are real.
Thanks,
They're
buddy.
not kind of an ad lib where you just fill in stuff, you know. And I'm not even knocking that because there's a place for that.
Oh yeah.
Music and
There's a
it's
place for the
worked real
party. Man,
with
there's
radio.
a place for the party.
Yeah, you know, and you're just fitting the words in, and some great careers have been made on that. But your stuff is extremely real.
Thanks, buddy.
And it's soul touching.
Thanks, buddy.
And so when we'll take another quick break, I just want to thank you for being here.
Man, I'm
glad we finally got to do this
Can't wait to
in
be
person, and hopefully we get to connect again in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
It's a great city too, that I always love going to. But when we come back, we're going to have you do a couple of your songs here live, so that people can stay tuned and see what I'm talking about with these great lyrics.
All right, cool.
So thank you for tuning in to Local Music Somewhere. We'll close in just a little bit, but when we come back from this quick break, we're going to have Trey Calloway singing stuff live, so you don't want to miss it. In fact, maybe you want to call a couple friends in. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
Have you ever wondered what the future of music might sound like? Imagine a world where every beat, every rhythm, every melody is just a touch away. Welcome to rBeatz, the symphony of tomorrow. Picture a universal stage where independent artists and global superstars alike share their unique sounds. This is rBeatz, a platform that believes in the power of every note, every lyric, every beat. We're an around-the-clock, leap-year-long music marathon because talent doesn't rest, and neither do we. But rBeatz is more than just a platform. It's a community, a place where listeners of all backgrounds can come together to celebrate every note, every voice. We're an open book, welcoming everyone from the most discerning aficionado to those just beginning their musical journey. Imagine a musical passport that takes you on a global odyssey, bringing you closer to independent musicians and artists from every corner of the world. That's rBeatz. It's not just about listening, it's about discovering, supporting, and experiencing the rich tapestry of global music. And we believe in keeping things simple. With rBeatz, you can effortlessly unearth the intricate, the bold, the unheard, and the unforgettable. It's all at your fingertips. So, are you ready to unleash your sound and join the revolution? The future of music is now, and it starts with you. Welcome to rBeatz, your music, your world, your revolution. Whether you're an artist or a fan, rBeatz invites you to be part of our community. We're not just shaping the future of music, we're creating it together. So come on in, the symphony of tomorrow awaits. rBeatz, unleash your sound, join the revolution. The future of music is now, and it starts with you.
One-stop solution for all things music. Imagine your brand soaring high on the wings of a pulsating beat. Picture the thrill of a crowd, energized by a soundtrack that perfectly encapsulates your vision. That's what we do here at rBeatz.com. Our mission is to intertwine your story with a unique rhythm that captures the heart of your brand. Whether you're a startup looking to make a grand entrance or an established brand aiming to redefine your sound, we've got you covered. From adrenaline-pumping tracks for a sports brand to soothing melodies for a wellness venture, our beats are as diverse as your needs. Remember, it's not just about the beat, it's about the rhythm of your brand. So come, join us at rBeatz.com, where your brand finds its beat. rBeatz.com, your brand, our beats.
Stopped by to see you on my way home today. Lay the yellow rose by your cold stone grave. Tough as a saddle, but strong to the end. Light in a dark world, and my best friend. Oh, I held you in while your tired eyes closed. I still remember the last words you spoke. No, I ain't afraid of dying, 'cause I've seen what's on the other side. A cobblestone road, all paved in gold, and a clear sky. You can't tell me that God ain't a cowboy. Man, he's right there wearing the Stetson. Oh, and there's horses in heaven. I bet right now you bring in them in. You and them angels ride in the wind. Oh, and here in this silence, I hear you again, saying don't be afraid of dying, 'cause I've seen what's on the other side. A cobblestone road, all paved in gold, clear skies. You can't tell me that God ain't a cowboy. Man, he's right there wearing a Stetson. Oh, and there's horses, oh, in heaven. Oh, you can't tell me that God ain't a cowboy. Man, I hear he always wears a Stetson. So when he finally calls me home, we'll both watch them roll. Those horses in heaven.
Thank you for joining Local Music Somewhere. Hashtag Charlotte. Welcome to this week's show, hosted by Terry Hudson with special guest, Nashville country artist Trey Calloway.